Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a focused look at something many people seem curious about. What really gets individuals to subscribe to platforms like MyLeadGenSecret, or MLGS as it's often called. We've got an interesting piece of open source research here, a post from a Philibert by someone named Peter, dated April 27th, 2025.
Right, and it's apparently part of a bigger project he's doing, looking into lots of questions about MLGS.
Exactly, 28 questions in total. But this specific piece, it really zooms in on one key thing. What are the core desires, maybe the underlying hopes, that push people to actually sign up?
Yeah, the why behind it all.
Right. So whether you're maybe exploring online income options yourself, or perhaps you're just fascinated by what drives people in this space, we think this deep dive should offer some pretty valuable perspective.
It's definitely interesting how direct Peter's research seems to be in, well, identifying that core driver. He really homes in on what looks like a very fundamental human desire.
Okay, and what's that?
His findings suggest that the main reason people subscribe, it pretty much boils down to a powerful combination: the wish to make real money online.
The money aspect.
And crucially, to achieve a greater sense of financial, well, freedom, independence.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit, this money and freedom idea. The Philibert post, it actually pulls a quote directly from the MLGS sales page, and it paints quite a picture.
Oh, yeah. What does it say?
It talks about, finally making a full-time income from online marketing.
Yeah.
While working part-time on your own schedule.
That's a strong pitch.
It is. And then it goes on to imagine, like, no more overdue bills, no more worrying about your finances, living a stress-free life. Very evocative.
Wow. Yeah. That messaging, it clearly appeals directly to wanting to solve money problems, doesn't it? And also gain control. Personal control over time and finances.
Exactly. That control aspect feels huge.
And what's really compelling about that financial freedom promise, you find this with lots of similar platforms, is the potential for, well, you could call it time sovereignty.
Time sovereignty. Explain that.
For people feeling, boxed in by a typical 9-to-5, the idea of earning an income and controlling their own time-setting hours, working from anywhere.
Right.
That's just an incredibly powerful pull, maybe even more than just making more money for some people. It speaks to that fundamental desire for autonomy, really.
That makes a lot of sense. This desire for financial independence, it really does seem central. The research points towards this wish to potentially leave the day job behind.
Yeah, become totally self-reliant through online work.
It's not just about, say, making a bit extra on the side. It feels like it's about a possible lifestyle shift, getting more freedom, more flexibility in life.
Precisely. And it's interesting how this lines up with, broader trends we see. The gig economy, side hustles. The post mentions some survey data. It says something like 80% of people starting side hustles are, well, first motivated by simply increasing their income. Pretty straightforward.
Okay, that seems logical.
But then nearly a third also have this longer-term goal. They want to be their own boss.
There it is again. Independence.
Exactly. So it stands to reason that folks drawn to something like MLGS probably share those basic drivers. They're looking for a way to either boost their current earnings or maybe eventually replace them entirely with something they control.
Okay, so building on that idea, that desire for a different future, the Philibert post also brings up the crucial role of hope.
Hope, yes.
It suggests that beyond just the goals of money and freedom, there's this significant element of hope really fueling these signups. Can you expand on that? How do aspiration and hope connect here?
Yeah, that's an important angle, the psychological side. Look, many people attracted to opportunities like MLGS, they might genuinely be facing financial struggles or maybe feeling stuck in jobs they don't like.
Sure, that makes sense.
So the promise MLGS offers this idea of getting daily leads that could potentially turn into commissions. It acts like a tangible symbol, a symbol of a better future.
Like a concrete step they can take.
Exactly. It's presented as this accessible first step towards that dream, working from home and maybe feeling like their efforts are actually worth something, getting paid what they feel they're worth.
So it's like presenting a pathway, something viable, even if maybe it feels like a bit of a long shot to an outsider.
Right.
And even for people who might be feeling, desperate because of debt or bills piling up. The research suggests the underlying driver isn't just desperation, but this hopeful idea that MLGS could be the thing, that turning point.
That's it, precisely. The research really emphasizes that subscribers seem to believe in the genuine possibility of hitting their income goals using this system.
They buy into the potential.
Yeah. It's the potential for what the Post calls a money-making breakthrough. That's a huge motivating factor. They're investing in that possibility, that chance for a different financial reality.
Okay, so if we were to really boil this down, synthesize it, what's the core takeaway? What's the central aspiration driving people to MLGS based on this research we've been discussing?
Well, ultimately, it seems these individuals are looking for a practical, or at least what seems like an accessible way to generate significant online income.
Right, a practical path.
But the money itself, it isn't necessarily the end goal, you know? It's more about what that money represents.
Which is,
Liberation, freedom from financial stress, freedom from the constraints of a traditional job, the daily grind.
earn more, live free.
Essentially, yes. That fundamental aspirational drive, earn more to live with greater freedom and autonomy, that really appears to be the key force motivating these subscriptions.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into why people sign up for MLGS, it really makes you think, doesn't it? How these fundamental human desires, wanting financial improvement, wanting the personal freedom that comes with it, all kind of powered by hope for something better.
Hmm.
How that might play out across all sorts of online ventures, maybe even just in our broader life goals. What are those underlying aspirations that push people to look for new paths, digital or otherwise?
It's a good question to ponder.
Yeah, it's a powerful reminder, I think, that this search for financial well-being and just autonomy, control over your own life, it's a deeply ingrained human thing. Understanding that can give us some valuable context, not just online, but kind of everywhere.